Hi there, this is a quick demo of the Easy Model Railroad Inventory program. It's a freeware program that is available to allow you to do your model railroad inventory. You can find it at pdc.ca. That's the website of Precision Design Company under the freebies link at the top. So again, pdc.ca, run by Bill Brillinger, not me, and you can go there to download it. So you can see it's kind of an old program, but when you run it and install it, you get this interface here. I don't use all of the stuff on the side here. Generally, I use the rolling stock and locomotives and a little bit of the operations. The rest of it I do not do, but it can inventory things like your electronics, your buildings, that sort of thing. But all I really care about is maintaining my list of my rolling stock and locomotives. And here there are a bunch of links, but the ones that I use most often are maintain cars and a couple of reports. So let's just go right into maintain cars. These menus at the top are basically the same thing as these on the side. So maintain cars, click that. There's a list of all of the model railroad cars that I have on my layout or off my layout. And you can kind of see there's a whole bunch of detail involved. The ID is internal, whether it's a freight or maintenance away and so on. Print car card is what PCC stands for. AAR is the classification used by the American Association of Railroads to indicate what kind of car it is. So an XM is a box car. So you can, this and this correspond together. You can see FD is a flat car if you press center. Reporting mark and road number. So if I looked at my layout, I'd find a yellow box car, A box 51001. That's this one. Length. There's a bunch of other details you can have. So if I just double click on one of these, it gives me some of the details. So you can see it's the same information that's in the list. It's a freight, A box 51001, box car. I can say what kind of couplers does it have, and all of these are lists. One of the things is any of these you can also add. I'll show you that in a second here. But for example, I added this coupler type, both, for having a KD on one end and a horn hook on the other as an adapter car. There's a bunch of check boxes here, whether it's weathered, meets the NMRA weight standard. Status, you can have a bunch of different statuses that you put here if you choose to. There's a lot of details you can put here. But the absolute minimum you have to put in here is what type of car it is, and reporting mark, and the AR type. So let's create a new car. Let's say I've got a car Burlington Northern number 1. I'm going to add it. So here's a blank one. Service type, I'm going to say it's a freight car. And I can just start, I can either pick from the list or I can just start typing. B, you can see it picked Bangor and Aroostook. N, Burlington Northern. Great. You can also just go here to the list, and you can also see you can add your own road names, which I have had to do because, for example, the Boyko Railroad, which was my dad's railroad, didn't exist, so I added it. So Burlington Northern, and then you put in a road number, say it's road number 1, and then the AAR type. Again, you can edit this. You can all of these you can add to the list, but say Burlington Northern is a gondola side dump. That's all I need to do, but I might want to do some more. I might want to give it a status to say it's bad ordered. This is more for operations. There's a tab here. You can say, well, whether is it available for service. Excuse me. And if you're into operations, you can mark it so that you print the car card next time you run it, and you can pick a location. These locations are things that I've added to my layout. I experimented with this at the start. I really don't find it very useful for me, but if you want to do the operations section of Easy Model Railroad Inventory, then you're going to want to use the location. I haven't found it particularly useful. You can specify the length, which I do in inches, and the color, which is helpful if you're trying to find the darn car. And the return to is what gets printed on the car card. So say if it's empty, you might want it to go back to a particular location in your layout, so you can just type in here return to whatever. What else? These are build dates or build date retire dates that are maybe printed on the car. You could put those in there. And for insurance, you could say, who's the model railroad manufacturer, like Bowser or whoever. How much it cost, how much current value is, condition, all that stuff. I don't do any of that stuff, but you might. You can add pictures to it. And then when you click save, there it is. It's in my list. The PCC is checked because I told it I wanted to print a car card. Excuse me. I have a bit of a cold. So, once I add all those in there, well, that's great. I can do reports. So I can do a basic inventory list, for example. It says I want to create a new query. Some of these reporting is a little more complicated than they need to be. So say I want to know all of the cars that are where the AAR type is equal to, let's say, maybe I want to look at all my box cars. That's an XM. So AR type is equal to XM. Finish. Would I like to save this query? Sure. Call it box cars. And preview. Sure. So there's a list of all my box cars. So it shows me that the AR type is that, road number, status, cost, value. And you can zoom in or out. See how it's a magnifying glass. When I click left click, it zooms in. Right click, it zoom out. So I have a fair number of box cars. And then you can click this to go, or you can click this to actually print it. Print report. I find the reporting is a bit primitive, but it is there. You can export it to a spreadsheet, for example. Same idea here with locomotives. You can maintain locomotives. Pretty much the same idea. Sorry for the coughing. The last thing I want to talk about here in this brief introduction is print car cards. So I've got one that's flagged for print car cards. If I click that, print freight car cards. So it shows me all of the cars I have in there, but I can say I want to show me. There's a way to pick. Yeah, show tag. There we go. So if I click on that, it basically says only list the ones that are tagged. So there's only one. So if I go print car card and preview, what you'll see is it shows me one car card. I think it'll print 6 for 8.5 by 11 sheet. So you can see it'll print that one car card. And I like this a lot because the car card is already formatted and it has this. It looks just like this, so that you'll know where to fold it. You fold this part here up into here, tape it, and then you have a little pocket. That's pretty cool. So this is really what I use this for, is to keep an inventory of my freight cars and to be able to print car cards. So hope you enjoyed that very brief introduction to Easy Model Railroad Inventory. It was written by Bob Langer. I don't think it's maintained anymore. And you can find it at pdc.ca under the freebies link at the top. Thanks.